Classical Crescendo. Mily Alexeyevich Balakirev, 1836-1910. Birth and early life. Mily Alexeyevich Balakirev was born on January 2, 1837, in Nizhny Novgorod, Russia. He came from a modest background, but his mother, who was musically inclined, recognized his talent early on. She encouraged him to pursue piano lessons, and by the age of 10, he was already showing signs of being an extraordinary pianist. Balakirev's family had limited means, so his early music education was somewhat informal, relying on the guidance of local teachers and his own self-driven learning. Education and musical development. At the age of 15, Balakirev moved to St. Petersburg, where he came under the influence of the Russian pianist and composer, Alexander Dubuk. This city would become a critical hub for his musical evolution. It was here that Balakirev started to build a vision for a distinct Russian style in classical music. Although he did not receive formal higher education, his intellectual curiosity and his interactions with other musicians helped him develop a deep understanding of composition and orchestration. He was particularly interested in using Russian folk melodies as the basis for his work, which would become a cornerstone of his style. Career and the mighty handful. Balakirev's true influence extended beyond his own compositions. He is perhaps best known for being the leader of the Mighty Handful, or the Five, a group of Russian composers that included Modest Mussorgsky, Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov, Alexander Borodin, and Cesar Cui. Together, they sought to create a uniquely Russian form of classical music, free from the Western European influences that dominated Russian music at the time. Under Balakirev's guidance, these composers integrated Russian folk themes, Eastern melodies, and liturgical music into their compositions. Though he was a composer himself, Balakirev's teaching and mentoring role sometimes overshadowed his own works. He took a hiatus from composing in the 1870s due to personal and professional challenges, only returning to the field later in life. His music had a strong nationalist character, which helped shape the identity of Russian classical music. Late career and compositions. After a period of isolation, Balakirev returned to composing in the late 19th century, and his later works include some of his most significant pieces. He served as director of the Free School of Music in St. Petersburg and worked at the Imperial Chapel. His compositional output during this time included orchestral works, piano pieces, and choral music. Notable among these are his Piano Concerto No. 1 and his symphonic poem Tamara. Despite his influence on other composers, Balakirev never achieved the same level of fame as his protégés. His perfectionism often led to a relatively small number of completed works, and his exacting nature could alienate both peers and students. Death. Mily Balakirev passed away on May 29, 1910, in St. Petersburg at the age of 73. His death marked the end of an era for Russian classical music, as he had played a crucial role in fostering the development of a national style that would leave a lasting imprint on the world of music. Legacy. Balakirev's legacy is felt primarily through his influence on the Mighty Handful and the larger Russian nationalist school of music. While his compositions may not be as frequently performed as those of Rimsky-Korsakov or Mussorgsky, his vision for a distinctly Russian musical language inspired future generations of composers. He laid the groundwork for later composers like Igor Stravinsky and Sergei Prokofiev, who would continue to expand upon the foundation Balakirev and his colleagues built. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.